Hi everybody, how's it going? It's been a while since I made a video. Actually, I've made a few videos in the past month, but when I played them back to edit them, I just wasn't feeling it. Just not too enthusiastic about them. Just things I picked up at thrift stores over the past, several weeks. But I've got some good stuff here to show I picked up at an antique mall. I had a job interview kind of a little bit outside of town, and just up the road a bit is in a flea market, and there's an antique mall kind of at the edge of the flea market. It was a weekday, so the flea market wasn't open, but the antique mall is open all week long. So I decided to stop in the antique mall. There had been a small kind of record booth in the antique mall before, and the guy had some pretty good stuff. He actually shows up to the record collector shows here in town and has a pretty good selection. And on the weekends, supposedly on Sunday at the flea market, he has a booth, but I've never actually caught him there. So I went this time, and his booth had expanded, and he had a lot of really cool jazz, and the prices are very reasonable. So I picked up quite a few things. Actually went back for a second visit, so 2 trips. This is the stuff I picked up here. So I'm going to start out with the dollar bin stuff and kind of work my way up to the more expensive stuff. First of all, a record. Didn't have the outer sleeve, but that's okay because it's an artist I like. An organ player named Bill Doggett. And this is on the old King label called Moondust. So some kind of cool R&B, jazzy Hammond organ stuff. And another one missing the cover, but it comes in a nifty, realistic plastic lined sleeve here, and then inside a looks like almost like a picture disc sleeve. This is John Coltrane, Coltrane Time, reissued on United Artists. Originally, this came out as a Cecil Taylor record, I think. John Coltrane, Cecil Taylor, I want to say Kenny Dorham, and a few other big jazz cats. But for $1, the record's in nearly perfect shape, so I don't care. If it's missing the cover, record plays great. Another one for $1. I went past this by the first visit, and took a closer look the second visit, and discovered it had some really good players. This is Maynard Ferguson's Hollywood Party from the MRC label, and this is a reissue. This is from the let's see here. This is a reissue, I think, in the 80s. It's the someone has it in one of these nice, really nice inner sleeves here. Obviously, they treasured this record. It's kind of weird as in the dollar bin, but it was from the MRC Jazz Series reissue series, and I don't know if you can read it, but there's some white text kind of the top of the label that says manufactured by Nippon Phonograph Company Limited, Tokyo. So it's a Japanese pressing, and it plays just fantastic. And actually on the label here it lists the musicians. So you have it's all the big West Coast guys, which I really like. Maynard Ferguson on trumpet, Bud Shank on alto sax, Bob Cooper tenor sax, Bob Gordon baritone sax, Russ Freeman piano, Curtis Counts bass, Shelly Manne drums. This is recorded in 1954 in Los Angeles. So that's how it gets the title Hollywood Party. So and I think it was one of Maynard Ferguson's first recordings under his own name. He recorded plenty of stuff before this, but I think it was one of the first under his own name here. And another one from the dollar bin, Oscar Peterson Trio, With Respect to Nat. And this is on the Limelight label. So this is recorded, I guess, the year or the year after Nat King Cole died. And Oscar Peterson, like Nat King Cole, a piano player, but also a singer. I didn't sing on a lot of his stuff, but he has a voice that's remarkably close to Nat King Cole's. And so after Nat King Cole died, he was, I guess, inspired to record an album playing Nat King Cole's songs and singing on them. Yeah, this is kind of a nice find for $1. I've got quite a bit of Oscar Peterson stuff here. Most of it I've picked up in like dollar bins and free bins. I don't know, it just doesn't attract the attention, I guess, of a lot of jazz players. And let's see, another one from the dollar bin, Kitty White, a new voice in jazz, and this is another one on the MRC label there, MRC Records Corp subsidiary. Yeah, so the reason I bought this, I don't know anything about Kitty White. I don't think she recorded a whole lot of stuff, but in her band here there's a guitar player. They don't name him on the record, I guess because of contractual stuff, but it's Barney Kessel. And there's also a sax player they don't name, and I can't remember who that was. But yeah, a pretty good vocal jazz with a nice nice instrumental backing. I guess this is original here, original pressing on MRC. And another one from the dollar bin. This one on Coral Records. It's Les Brown and his band of renown jazz songbook. And I'm not really familiar with Les Brown, but what's really nice here are the featured soloists. So you have guys spotlighting Buddy DeFranco, Terry Gibbs, Frank Rossellino, Zoot Sims, Don Fagerquist, and Ronnie Lang. So a lot of quality jazz players. It's got a really nice gatefold here on the inside. It's got photos and bios of the different featured soloists. So that's really nice. And it actually has the original inner sleeve, which is always pretty cool when you find that. So another one from the dollar bin. One I didn't have from this artist. This is Ahmad Jamel, the piano player with strings. Ahmad Jamel with strings, and the name of the album is Rhapsody. And this is on the Cadet label. Cadet being basically Argo. They had to change their name because I believe there was a British classical music label named Argo. So at some point they had to change the name and they picked Cadet. Yeah, from the dollar bin. I'm not going to pass up Ahmad Jamel in the dollar bin. See in the band here is Vernel Fournier on drums and Jamil Nasser on bass. And Ahmad Jamel on piano. And let's see if we can take a look at the record real quick. For some reason it's in a United Artists inner sleeve. Alright, and getting a little pricier now for $3. A Dave Brubeck record I didn't have. Bernstein plays Brubeck, plays Bernstein. So this is a recording with Leonard Bernstein, and he's playing a composition by Dave Brubeck's, I guess, older brother here. And then there's the Dave Brubeck quartet, I think it was, playing with the New York Philharmonic, conducted by Leonard Bernstein. So, interesting mix of classical and jazz. I think this one's a 6i. Yeah. Kind of beat up, but you know, probably not something I'd pay full price, $10 or so for if it was in perfect condition. You know, most of my Dave Brubeck stuff I've picked up pretty cheap. He was a very popular guy, so there's a lot of stuff out there. And kind of along the same lines as the Ahmad Jamel, next one up for $4 is an Argo release, Ramsey Lewis and the Gentlemen of Jazz. So I think this is actually Ramsey Lewis Volume 2. It says Volume 2 on here in the corner. So I think it might have been his second release on the label. And let me see. Show you the record label on this one. This one's actually in pretty good shape. Sits on the black Argo label. Now, I really fell in love with the Argo label. I started to find these things at Second and Charles, big bookstore, record store, or whatever. And even used here in town when they opened, they had a whole bunch of like stuff in the bottom shelf of the record shelves, just discount records, and they had a whole bunch of old Argo stuff. Ahmad Jamel and Ramsey Lewis and that kind of stuff for like $4 or less. I picked a lot of that up. Crap. See, I hate these old record albums when they don't actually list the musicians in the band. Kind of a pain in the butt. And next up, for $4, a interesting thing on World Pacific Jazz. This is a portrait of Wes Montgomery with the Montgomery brothers. So I think what this is, it's collecting his early work, where he recorded with his brothers, Buddy Montgomery and the other guys. So let's see, yeah, so Wes Montgomery guitar, Montgomery on bass, Buddy Montgomery on piano, Pony Poindexter on alto sax, Lewis Hayes on drums. Another track, you got Harold Land on tenor sax. Yeah, so it's pretty early Wes Montgomery stuff I didn't have on record yet. And yeah, interesting, the record label is a later Pacific Jazz, a division of Liberty label, although the cover says World Pacific Jazz. And I find that a lot with the Pacific Jazz, World Pacific stuff, like the label didn't always match what was on the cover. I was going through transitions there. So next up, $4, a Pablo record I didn't have, called Hawthorne Nights by Zoot Sims. Zoot Sims on tenor sax with, among the players, Richie Kamuka, clarinet and tenor sax, Frank Rossellino, trumpet, Monty Budwig, bass, Nick Ceroli, drums. Yeah, pretty good stuff. I really like these Zoot Sims records on Pablo. I've got 3 of them now. They're all quite enjoyable. There's the typical Pablo label there. So good stuff, great player. Kind of like Al Cohn, a guy he played with many times. Great sax players, even up into the late 70s and 80s. So next up, $4, an old Columbia Records release, The Music of Duke Ellington, played by Duke Ellington. Love that cover there, just the start, black and red with the white background. And this one actually had the original inner sleeve. Like I said, that's always really cool. And this one, another 6i. And I love adding stuff like Duke Ellington, Louis Armstrong in my collection, just filling it out with classic jazz. So next up, a little more expensive, we're getting into the $6 range here. This is Donald Byrd, a collection put out by Milestone, double LP reissue here, basically a twofer, called Young Byrd, with Pepper Adams and Gigi Grace. Yeah, and the Milestone label there. Really beautiful shape. Some slight scuffs here and there, but I'm going to enjoy listening to these, I know. I really am enjoying jazz now from the late 50s, mid to late 50s, that era. Enjoying that a lot more recently. And now getting up into the $8 range. Very fair price. This guy's prices are really good. I don't know why he prices his jazz stuff real cheap, but even like his rock stuff, he's got a really, I think a really fair price on most of his stuff. A lot of these antique mall guys just way overprice their records, especially if they have anything like Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd. They just go insane. But this guy's prices are all really reasonable, and stuff is priced to move. So this is yeah, I don't know the official name of this record. It's a little confusing because it reissues two 10-inch records on one 12-inch LP here. So on the Fantasy label, you've got Jerry Mulligan, the Jerry Mulligan Quartet, and also Paul Desmond. I want to say like Paul Desmond Quintet or something. But anyway, it's reissuing two Fantasy 10-inch records. One by Jerry Mulligan, one by Paul Desmond, the sax player that most people know from playing with Brubeck. And it's in just nearly perfect shape. It's on beautiful dark red translucent vinyl here. I've got some other Fantasy records and they're on kind of a brighter color red, but this is a nice dark red. And when I pulled it out of the sleeve, it was labeled on the cover. It said red vinyl, and I kind of slipped it out of the inner sleeve a little, and I thought, nah, it looks like it's black. But then I held it up to the light and I could see it was red, so definitely worth 10 bucks. I really like Jerry Mulligan, his sound, his playing, as well as Paul Desmond, and some other great players on here. Barney Kessel, Chet Baker, Chico Hamilton. And this record's just in beautiful shape, so definitely worth 10 bucks. And now, or that was $8. Now moving up to the $10 level. Had to buy this record. I've got a copy of this. It's just really beat, and when I see it out and about for cheap, it's usually just torn to shreds. But this one, the cover's a little beat up. Looks like the back is faded, but it's a classic record. Time Out by the Dave Brubeck Quartet. Stereo pressing. Repress, I think the original didn't say featuring Take 5 and Rondo, Blue Rondo, a la Turk. I don't think it said all that. But the back, it looks like the back is like faded from the sun or something. It's like a gray color, kind of weird. But when I pulled the record out, the record's still in the original plastic. I think that's the original plastic inner sleeve there. I've seen these a lot on these older records here from about this era, and it did a really beautiful job of protecting the vinyl. The vinyl looks like just freaking mint. Let's see if I can get the record right side up here. Just beautiful. Beautiful. Plays fantastic. Could not pass this up for 10 bucks. I finally got a decent copy of this classic Dave Brubeck, Paul Desmond record here. And then finally, the big bucks here. I'm kind of a cheapskate, so this is big bucks to me. I know it's not a lot of money to most people, and cheaper than most reissued records. Just your run-of-the-mill, you know, go to the record store and just grab a reissue off the shelf. Nothing special. A John Coltrane for $18. John Coltrane Plays the Blues on Atlantic. Beautiful cover's just in beautiful shape. Back, really no ring wear or anything. No splits in the spine, just gorgeous. And let me pull the record out here and try to do this carefully. I don't know why this is priced 18 bucks. I thought he would have priced it a little higher. There's a few scuffs on the record, but they don't really affect the play much. And I think maybe once I give it a really good cleaning, it'll sound even better. But on the almost positive, this is a first pressing. The little fan there next to the A, it's a white fan. The represses or reissue that came out a little later had a black fan on the white background. So as far as I can tell, this is an original here. So yeah, just couldn't believe he had this for 18 bucks. You know, you go to a record store and if they reissued this, just a run-of-the-mill, Not a Music Matters or any kind of special reissue, audiophile reissue. Just a standard one probably cost you 20 bucks. So, you know, to find an original and like very good plush shape, the vinyl, and I mean the cover, like just almost immaculate. For 18 bucks, I couldn't believe it. So yeah, that's pretty exciting to find all that stuff and just fairly cheap. More money than I've spent in a while, but just kind of treating myself. It was my birthday yesterday, and I just wanted to go out and spend a little more, buy some nicer stuff, but also raid the dollar bin. He had a lot of good stuff. Still had some cool stuff in the dollar bin. Interesting things like the guitarist Tony Mottola and some other stuff. But definitely a nice addition to the collection of thrift stores and record stores here in town. I'll be making more regular visits out that way. So thanks for watching along. Hope you enjoyed jazz. If not, sorry. Nothing but jazz in this issue here. See you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.